Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Rivers Tuesday, 2026 edition.
Yeah,
Good
first
morning.
one of the year.
Yeah, I'm excited. Are you excited?
Oh, yeah.
We have so many things to talk about.
Yes, we do.
But before we get into all the things, how was your Christmas? How was your New Year?
Christmas was good. All three of my girls had the flu at some point. The good news was Annie had it mostly downtown. When she came home, it was mostly gone. Then we kind of made it through Christmas Day, and then the day after, it just sort of they started to tumble downhill. But all is well because everybody's healthy again, and we had a good Christmas, and then we had a good New Year, and I'm excited. I love the New Year.
Yes.
So how about you?
Same. We had a great Christmas. We actually weren't sick, which I feel like we were one of the few people
Yeah.
in Ottawa that was not sick
You're living
on
right.
Christmas. So that was a blessing. Christmas Day was great. It was very chill, and it was very hot outside. And we spent a lot of time outside, just
Yeah.
baking in the sun.
That's good.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
The New Year was good. I get excited about the New Year. It's just like a fresh season. What are you excited about for our church this year? Like, what is this new season bringing excitement for you, for our church family?
I'm excited that we're going to find our place in this world.
Our place. You weren't gonna come alongside me there.
No, I was gonna let you out there. Just like hang on to that.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
excited about. I had to get that out of my head.
That is gonna be.
It's stuck in my head. That song, "Place in This World," which I know someone has recently redone that. I guess maybe 2 years ago. Apparently, according to the internet, it was for King and Country, but originally the OG. Place in This World was Michael W. Smith, 1991. And let me just tell you that like junior high John in 1991, let's see, I would have been like 12.
I was not even conceived.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was so listening to that song, like in my headphones, on my Walkman, on a cassette tape, probably on the way to a youth group retreat, because we could only listen to Christian music if we brought Walkmans. And I was probably like having some kind of existential crisis about like the meaning of life.
Yes.
Like I was so searching for my place in this world in middle school, right? But also looking for that girl who might also be searching for her place in this world, and kind of hoping that maybe I would be her place in this world.
Yes.
I'm sure that was happening.
Yes. Why is it that like in that phase of life, those songs that like we cannot relate to at all, but they feel so real in that season of life? You feel like you get it, but you're like 13.
All these new feelings you have. Yeah, it's true.
And they're so big.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that because we were talking right before we started recording about just like what is Ecclesiastes all about. That's kind of where we're going for the next several weeks, is just studying this book in the Old Testament in the wisdom literature section that is a bit hard to understand and hard to read, and it can feel heavy, and it feels a little bit like that existential longing, like I'm looking for my place in the world. I'm looking for meaning and purpose and what brings like value and worth like to what I'm doing. And so I'm excited about this study because I think it has a lot to say to us, especially in our stage of life right now as a church. And I'm excited about it because I think that the Lord has teed this up. I know that he has. I have 1,000% confidence that this was the Lord, because when I started looking into this, I was like, oh, no, let's not do. I started trying to come up with, I was on study leave, tried to come up with so many other sermon series that would have been so great. And I just kept coming back to this because the Lord was like, no, I have something to say to you right now in this.
Yes.
And so that gets me excited. I'm leaning in. Lord, what do you want to say to us? And then I'm also excited because we announced Quiet Waters on Sunday, and we're going to be talking more and more about that. you might have seen a video. It played in the first service. It did not play in the second service. Just describing a little bit about what that is. But it's just going to be a time for our church family to get away and spend time practicing being in the presence of God and in the presence of one another.
Yeah. This retreat almost feels like, I might not be using this word correctly, like a Kairos moment. Where it's like, this is something that I know has been on your heart for our church family to do probably since you planted this church. Like, this has been something that we have like wanted our church to get to experience, and it feels like this is the time for it. Like, it feels like what God has been doing in us and through us is just like all led to like this being the right time for this experience. So talk a little bit about like what you hope people experience at Quiet Waters.
Well, the name Quiet Waters, we didn't come up with that. I actually don't know who came up with that, but I have some friends that I think may have been the ones who came up with that from the church that I was a part of before coming here. They were the ones who started this experience, and it comes right out of the 23rd Psalm. So Psalm 23 says, he leads me beside still waters, or sometimes it's translated quiet waters. It's where the Lord leads us, where we can let our inhibitions down. We can kind of like put our defenses down, and we can say, we're here to be nourished and fed by you. We're here to be in your presence because we know that that's going to be restorative. That's going to replenish us, which is what Psalm 23 says. It's going to nourish us. And so this experience is a chance to just slow down and hear from the Lord. Yeah. And enjoy that. There's something to that, you know, and you got to fight for that. You said that really well on Sunday. We're going to have to carve this out.
Yes.
We're going to have to fight for this. It's going to take some work to make arrangements for our schedule to do this. It's not just like, hey, anybody who doesn't have anything to do or any sort of barrier at all that Friday evening, and then, you know, Saturday up through the afternoon. Like, if that's you should come and be here with us. No, it's like, no, like we're all going to have to figure that out.
Yes.
And I want to say that it will be worth it.
Yes.
As we come expectant to meet with the Lord and to just pull off the road and like head into the woods, kind of literally, you know, like at Johnston Woods, you know?
Yeah.
That will be good for our souls.
Yes, I'm really excited about that. February 27th and 28th.
That's right.
Mark the calendar.
Yeah.
All right, back to Ecclesiastes. For someone who is jumping in on our Bible reading plan, they're going to be reading Ecclesiastes a little repetitively, which is good because when you do repetitive reading, it gives you a feel for the book as a whole. As you read it over and over again, you begin to see new things. For someone who's jumping into Ecclesiastes, and we're in this series, this book falls in wisdom literature. Give us a little context or maybe like lens that we should put on when we're reading wisdom literature. Like, how should we read it?
Well, let's see. We should definitely read it as the inspired word of God.
Yes.
And so we read it like we read scripture, like, Lord, what do you want to reveal about yourself and about me and about the life you're calling me to live? So we should start there, right? Like, this is God's word. But wisdom literature is interesting. It's often going to come at it from like maybe not a so much direct way. It may like with a propositional statement, like Jesus comes on the scene and says, I am the way and the truth and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me, right? For God so loved the world, he gave it, like propositional truths. It's like, you know,
take this literally. It's very clear and direct and linear.
Yes. Wisdom literature, you've got to kind of soak in it.
Yes.
You got to think about like, what's the general principle this is conveying. That's really important when you read books like the Proverbs, like, and you have to remember this phrase: these are principles, not promises.
Yes.
And these are things that are generally true, you know? And another thing when you're reading wisdom literature is context is really important. You can't just rip out a phrase and then be like, that's it, stamp that on, you know, a coffee mug necessarily, because it may be part of an important context. It's written oftentimes in Hebrew poetry, and or sometimes in narrative style, and so you have to see the broader context that it's set in, and sometimes that is the entire work that it's set in, not just the verses around it.
Yes.
What would you add to that?
I think with Ecclesiastes specifically, I think it's important to let the entire rest of the Bible inform our understanding of what this book is doing. And you may have, sorry if I'm stealing your thunder on a point you were going to make in a sermon in the future, but a quote that I've seen in several places that I feel like is really helpful for Ecclesiastes is that Ecclesiastes is asking a question that the whole rest of the Bible answers.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to bring your understanding of who God is and what the whole story of Scripture is saying to Ecclesiastes, and let all of those things be held together.
Yeah.
So I think that's important when you're reading Ecclesiastes. So on Sunday, we jumped into chapter 1. What were some of the concepts that got introduced? Tell us about who this preacher is and why the context of who he is helps us as we're reading it.
Koheleth, that's what he calls himself. That means the preacher, the teacher. And he also identifies himself as a son of David, the king over Jerusalem. Is that what he says in verse 1? King in Jerusalem. He'll talk more about being king later on the way. And we believe that this is King Solomon. And that's important because, especially as we get into next week, we begin to see that he has some authority to speak on these conclusions he's drawing about his observations from life, because he's got all the resources necessary to run these things out to the very end. Yep. Right? He's got all the power, he's got all the world influence, he's got all the different, just a variety of resources at his disposal to interview and inspect and observe, and he's got all the money that he needs to do everything he wants to do. And so he's kind of looked at every aspect of life and he's wrung it out. There's nothing left. Yeah. He has drank it dry, and he has all the resources to do that. Yeah. So sometimes we might think if I had that kind of money, I would be able to be happy or have meaning. You know,
I'm the exception.
Yes, my situation's different. And so it's important that we know who that is from that regard.
Yes, and from what I've heard, the modern day version of his wealth, his power, his influence, it would be far superior to anyone alive today. If you took that same amount of power, wealth, influence, and put that person on earth today, then he would far surpass anyone we can think of. So if we just isn't Jeff Bezos the most wealthy man in the world or something like that?
Well, it might be Elon Musk at this point. I don't know. So,
but take Eli Musk. I think King Solomon's wealth and power and influence would make him look silly. He's just so... It's a scale that we can't even comprehend.
Yes.
And so he has the authority to say no, I've really tried it and I did a good job trying it and it still didn't satisfy us.
He's got the monkeys. He's got the monkeys. Isn't that a line
clue what you're talking
from
about.
Aladdin? That's what it made me think of. He's got 9,000. Now everybody's going to be singing that.
Yes, everyone.
And there's these people that are he's got the monkeys. He's got the monkeys.
I need to watch this.
Oh, man. The animated version. Yes, it's great.
He's got the monkeys.
Yeah. Solomon has all the monkeys.
That's great. That should be the title of this episode, Jesse. All the monkeys.
All the monkeys.
Okay, so one thing I was reading about that I thought was really helpful was comparing Jesus to Solomon. A lot of times what people will do is throughout the Old Testament takes a figure that was significant and then show you how Jesus is better. And so in chapter 1, the teacher is telling you like there's nothing new under the sun and nothing is going to be remembered. But then Jesus comes, and what does he do? He makes all things new, and his work is eternally significant. And so in him, now we can be a part of this like workforce that actually can make things new.
Yes.
And is significant.
Yeah, that's great.
So I thought that was really helpful. So talk a little bit like, is life really meaningless? Help us understand that word, and like how are we supposed to like take that for today?
Yeah, well, that word you're saying meaningless, and I think it might even be translated that first couple of verses there in verse 2. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. It might be the NIV, but I could be wrong on that because I was reading from the ESV. But meaningless is probably not a great translation. It's not the best translation. It's hard to translate that word in Hebrew, which is hevel. And what it's the picture that hevel is painting is of breath or vapor or mist. It's like, it's here, but it doesn't last. You can see it, but you can't really grasp it. You can't necessarily control it or harness it. And to try to do that is you do in vain, right? That's where we get vanity of like everything is vanity, right? So like maybe we think, I think this is an Elton John song. I'm full of the songs today. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you, you know?
Yeah.
Like we
How to
think
Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen that movie.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
I'm serious. I've never seen that movie.
It's a great movie.
Okay. I guess I need to watch it.
It's not from the movie.
Yeah, but they made that song in my mind popular.
Okay. You're so vain. Vanity Fair. I don't know. Like we think, and maybe that word is kind of like talking about real surfacey, you know, like it doesn't, it lacks depth. It lacks meaning, and true like depth of purpose, something like that. Right. So it's vain to try to grab a hold of your breath as it comes out of your mouth on a cold winter morning. Right. So it's not so much meaningless, although meaningless is part of what this word can mean, what this word is getting at. It's just not an equivalent. So I wouldn't want everyone to think everything's meaningless, because what that does is introduce something, a philosophical term called nihilism, where nothing matters.
Yes.
And that is a very bleak outlook.
Yes.
And that leads to like an existential crisis.
Yes.
Which can lead to a crisis of faith, a crisis of morals.
Yes.
And then it's just like, well, you know, who cares?
Yeah,
you know, nothing matters.
Yeah. And that wouldn't be like to interpret Ecclesiastes that way wouldn't fit with the rest of Scripture that we know to be true.
That's right. That's right. Things do matter.
Yes.
They matter greatly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this is about perspective. And what Solomon is, I think, trying to get at is not so much that these things lack meaning. Like these things are meaningless. They don't matter. He's saying like our striving after these things in order for them to fulfill us or satisfy us or provide for us some kind of lasting gain, you're doing that in vain.
Yes.
It's like grasping at, and he'll even say it like striving after wind.
Yes.
We'll see that a lot next week.
Okay, so keep like pulling on that. How do we do that? Like, what does it look like in your life when you are trying to grasp at the wind or trying to control life or trying to take out of something that you can't take out of it?
Well, you might, let me do this. Let me try to ground that question back in like one of the verses in Ecclesiastes 1. In verse 3, the next verse, he says, "What does man gain or profit by all the toil at which he toils under the sun?" So what he's trying to figure out is what's going to last? Like how can we gain? And so when we are trying to live like everything has some kind of like, we need to be able to walk away from everything like with some kind of gain. You know, I think we're gonna find ourselves frustrated, disillusioned, like disappointed. Our expectations won't be met, and ultimately, like that hole that we were hoping that thing would fill with the gain, it's not going to be filled. So I don't know if this is where you're trying to steer me, but I was thinking about this morning, and like, so, and let's think through maybe some different areas of life, but I'll start with maybe our experience just at church. I think that when we walk away thinking something like, I didn't get anything out of worship today. Like, we were going in thinking like we need to gain, and then we ended up like missing the moment, if that makes any sense. We missed the gift that was someone preparing and working hard and getting there early and singing songs that were written in order to point you to God and to give you an opportunity in those few minutes, not to evaluate the quality of the performance or experience, but to meditate on the value and worth and glory and beauty of the God who has saved you, so that you will not be condemned forever. So when you say, I didn't get anything out of that, you came trying to like to gain something from, instead of receiving as a gift.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here's another one. I didn't get like what I wanted from that gathering or from that group or from that experience. You and I were kind of like talking about this a week or so ago about like two people go to a party, right? Remember this conversation?
Yep.
And it's like one person goes to that party, and that party is like everything in their mind has been, in all of their preparation and them choosing their outfit or whatever it may be, like is like in hopes that they're going to gain like some kind of approval from other people, some kind of like celebration of who they are, some kind of validation of who they are and their presence there and their worth at this party, some kind of like hole in their heart that needs to be filled right here, right? And then the other person goes to that party and is like, this is just going to be so fun, and I can't wait to see people, and I can't wait to like find out what's going on in their world, and to just, you know, have a good time enjoying one another
and receive whatever it is.
So it's like, I don't know, it's hard to even grasp. It's like, it almost feels like Hevel like trying to talk about it, but that was kind of helpful for me to think about.
Yeah. And I think just like continue, like you can go into every task that way too. Like this is something that like dawned on me yesterday as I was doing dishes. Like I'm putting bowls in my dishwasher for what felt like the billionth time in that day.
Yeah, what gain do you get?
And so I was just like, for a second I was tempted to feel just like frustrated and just give in to just like this resentment in this task of like, gosh, I'm doing this again. Like this is so whatever, fill in the blank. But then I was like, you know what? Instead of going down that path, what if I just received this moment? Like, yes, it does feel a little bit like toil and it's wearisome, but like this is my lot in this moment. Like this is where God has me in this moment. All I have is the present. And so what if I just receive this moment as a gift? And so I was just like, this is going to sound so ridiculous, but the bowl had chia pudding in it. And I was just like, I was just like receiving the amazing gift of chia pudding. Like it is insane that like coconut makes this like delicious creamy milk, and then you can mix these like cool seeds in it, and then it becomes this delicious creamy pudding. And I was just receiving that good gift as I was putting the bowl away. But I just think it like change every moment can be shifted significantly if we receive life in that way versus in every, and I do this, like my tendency is to take every single moment and try to just gain from it and try to be as efficient as possible and try to like get something that will serve me or like take me to the next step or accomplish something.
Yes.
I'm always thinking that way. But if I just receive life and give up our urge to control everything and make sense of everything and gain from everything, I think that is the power to enjoy. Like now you're talking. Now you're enjoying life instead of trying to control it and gain from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it shifts everything when you have that perspective.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay. And this is what Jesus says. So talk a little bit about how at the end of your sermon you pointed to this passage in, was it Mark? About
8.
losing
Will you pull that up,
your
Jesse?
life. I think this idea of just like letting go and stopping trying to gain from everything and put your life and what you want to grasp out of things first, you lose your life. You let go of trying to control it, and that is where true life is found.
Yeah, this is in the context of I don't remember if it's in Mark, or I know that there is. I read from Mark 8, and I know that Jesse's looking for it right now. But it's right there. It's right there, Jesse. 34, calling the crowd to him with his disciples, he said to them, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So that's the context we're in right now. That's the conversation. He's saying anyone can come after me and to follow me. And then he goes into this, like, because listen, that might feel like loss when I say deny yourself and then pick up your cross. Like, you all know what a cross is for, and follow me with that. That might feel like a loss, but that's when he's like, well, what's it gonna profit you if you gain the whole world and forfeit your soul?
Yes.
So what Jesus is saying here is that I have a better way than you trying to gain the whole world. There's a better way.
Yes. Yeah. And that reminds me of what you were saying of like the metaphor of lights, of how sometimes we have to like turn off all of the light pollution so that we can see the brilliance of who Jesus is. And I think sometimes we have to purposefully deny all of the things that are distracting us, that are tempting us to like find gain in. We have to purposely shut all of those off in order to see Jesus. So talk a little bit about some of those practices that we can lean into that help us in that.
Gosh, well, you're speaking right into like kind of where I'm at right now. And I said that on Sunday, talking about the night sky, and put a picture up on the screen of just all the stars in the sky. And you have to get away from it all to sort of see a sky like that. And in a way, you've got to start to strip out some things that are glowing brightly or that are blaring loudly in order for you to see the brilliance and light of Jesus and to hear his still small voice. So I have just been doing some different practices here at the beginning of the year, and some of them are one of them is like no unnecessary screen time. So if I'm not using it, if it's not necessary for work, then like I'm not getting on screens like at all. So like the TV screen or my phone screen, I'm not just looking up random stuff as it pops into my mind like we always can, and I'm not endlessly scrolling. I'm not just watching, whatever videos. I'm not being inundated with all these ads. So it's like that I've kind of shut those lights out, and it's amazing how all of a sudden I can see a different light. That's what I was, saying on Sunday. Like, and it's the light that's coming from the one who is the light of the world. So that's one practice.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it is not that those things are sinful, right, in and of themselves, but they can be. And I just think it's good to consider, like, okay, what practices, what habits do I have that like God is inviting me to deny myself from? Because I think it's when we lose our life, in a sense, in those ways that we find true life. And all of this is reminding me of the passage that we read on Sunday from James. I want to read it again. He says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make profit." It's basically just saying, like, everyone who thinks you have a good plan and you're going to control life and you're going to gain and you know what tomorrow is going to bring. He says he calls that boasting. He calls that evil arrogance. And we're just like, whoa, that's intense. Are you sure? But I think it's true that this idea of like, I can make life what I want to make it. I can get out of life what I want to get out of life. That is arrogant. But the flip of that is, at the end, his kind of resolve is, whoever knows the right thing to do it and fails to do it, for him it is sin. And again, I'm when I first read this, I was like, what is he saying there? How does that connect? But I just think it's this idea of like, again, you have this moment right now. You don't know that you have tomorrow. That is arrogant, evil boasting to assume that you can gain tomorrow. You can't gain tomorrow, but you have this moment right now. And so what does obedience look like right now? And if obedience for you right now looks like not picking up your phone again, then don't pick up your phone again. And to pick up the phone knowing you're not supposed to, for you in that moment, it is sinful. And so that has just been like on my mind, is just like, what is obedience in this moment that I do have? The only thing I can have is right now, and I want to be obedient right now. And I think that's part of what Ecclesiastes is helping me see, is just like, I don't have control over all the things I think I have control over. But I can be obedient in this moment to try to lose my life and try to see Jesus more clearly.
Yeah, I would just add to that passage in James that I think what he's saying here too is like, we should be submitting our plans to the Lord. So it's like, it's not like, hey, don't dream, don't think ahead, don't plan, like that's sinful. That's so not what this is saying. It's not what we're saying. It's saying like, but don't just go off making all these plans as if like you are the master of your universe.
Exactly.
Like what if you began to surrender these plans to the Lord, and even begin to ask him, what do you want for us? Like, what do you want our summer vacation to look like this year, Lord? And when you begin to receive kind of like his guidance, then there's like, well, if you've received his guidance and asking him, then to not do that would be disobedient.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that's good. Okay, so in closing, I think I just want to encourage everybody, in the next few moments that you have, what is God asking you to do? And how can you receive and enjoy wherever you find yourself today, instead of trying to gain and profit from whatever situation you find yourself in today.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good practice. All right, well, thanks for listening, and we'll continue to be talking about Ecclesiastes, and we'll see y'all next week.
See ya.